All ages. We have made it. We are here on day one of empowering families and rethinking education. And we have had such a glorious day that this is going to be an excellent way to end this day. But don't forget, come back tomorrow because we have more speakers, more panels, more gifts, everything to support you and your family. Sweetie, would you please introduce our next guest?
I now have the pleasure of introducing Ellen
Elin.
Edlund. Elin Edlund. Elin is the founder of the Echelon Institute and creator of the Coreshift Process, an identity-based framework that restores internal alignment at the root. Drawing from both advanced coaching and lived homeschool leadership, she brings a rare perspective to education, one that prioritizes identity, safety, and coherence as the foundation for how individuals learn, lead, and think. Her work reframes resistance as protection and learning as cultivation, equipping individuals to think clearly, act with agency, and develop from the inside out. Welcome, Elin. It is a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, you're welcome. And thank you for having me. It's always such a privilege to talk with you guys.
Thank you so very, very much. So, talk about that passion. What is it about that pivotal point in your life, raising your kids, whatever it was, that kind of brought you to this space and really want you to share with our families around this topic?
Oh, so many things. Okay, one thing that brought me to this coaching is I started it for myself because I knew I needed something different. Like I was trying to fix myself. What makes me so passionate about this is I discovered nobody really needs to be fixed.
Right.
We're all perfect the way we are. We're doing the things that we do because we are who we are because we've experienced what we've experienced. And as we grow older, and mature, and not necessarily age-wise, but as we mature, there are things that we can leave behind because we don't need them anymore. And when I learned how to work with people so that they can literally leave that stuff in the past and move forward, I love to coach. Every coaching session at the end of it, I'm like, woohoo! It's fun. And same thing when I get coached. I just love it. I'm like, oh, look, there's version, I don't know what I'm on, probably, 40.2 now. You know, it's nice. It's constant growth, which is exactly what we're looking for.
Beautiful. I love it, love it, love it. And your talk title, The Environment That Teaches, Creating Safety for Curiosity and Growth. Yeah. Let's dive into that a little bit because you do have the homeschool background and all the coaching background and everything you have. And when we are looking for that beautiful environment for our kids to become lifelong learners, that's what we want. We want that safety and that curiosity. So let's dive into practical. What's one thing that you would think is super important to have in your home or even around the school that helps create that environment?
So, one of the things is creating safety, and really that begins in the parent's mind or the teacher's mind, right? How are you looking at, so coming from a school perspective, how are you looking at your children? As a task to be done, oh, we've got to go through these subjects today, or what can we explore? What are they exploring? What I like to say begin with the end in mind. When your children are adults, what do you want them to have and to know about themselves? And so if you can start with that perspective, then you just get to reverse engineer it. And then you realize you actually get to partner with that child because I had three children that I homeschooled, and what each child needed was something different to be safe and to have that environment where they could go learn what they wanted to learn. So really that's what it's about. It all begins with the teacher, the parent, however you're doing education.
So, interestingly, one of the main reasons people will take their children out of school is because they feel like their children aren't safe anymore.
Mhm.
So, that is
Huge.
part of the reason she actually left the teaching system is because the administration wouldn't let her back up. If a child was went crazy and started pulling stuff off the road and throwing chairs, instead of taking that child out, they took all of the kids that were working and pulled them out and let. So
Wow.
how can we achieve that sense of safety inside of our current, let's say, large city school systems? Because out in the country they just still beat your butt.
No, they don't, but yeah.
They don't, but yes, I get what you're saying. Yeah. So again, like I was saying, it starts with who's leading in the room, right? And I would love to see coaches actually rather than teachers. Not that I have anything against teachers. My mother was a teacher. It's wonderful. And or maybe teachers equipped with coaching skills so that they can help children understand why they're behaving that way. Because kids don't know, they just know something doesn't feel right. So asking them questions, remembering that your child is not, or the child in your classroom is not an object. And that sounds really funny to talk about objectifying in this context. However, you look at all of the labels that we give people, and it starts in school, right? I remember the kids that had to get pulled out for reading help or that had to get pulled out for this or math or whatever. I have dyslexia. My mom did not allow me to be tested for that ever because she didn't want the label on me because she thought that would limit me. And so instead, at home, whenever I was running into things like, initially P's and Q's, they look the same. So why would it matter? She taught me, she said, look, this is how you communicate with the outside world. She said, you understand this and I understand this, but not everyone does. So we have to communicate in a way that works for other people. Now, do I want kids to not get specialized help? Absolutely not. I want them to be taken care of in a way that is honoring of them as a person and looks at whatever they have as a gift that gets to be unwrapped rather than a problem that needs to be solved.
Absolutely love that because yeah, so many times it is we go to that labeling thing, right? Oh, and we even talked about it earlier today. If we do a personality test, we have a certain label. Oh, you're going to be doing this and this and this because of your personality test, or you're from this part of town, so you're labeled or whatever, right? And it's like stop using labels as that box, right? That keeps them in. Or you're right, that gift to be unwrapped. What can we learn from this information? And how can we help people grow and flourish from that information? Yeah.
That is exactly what I think. And I think it really starts with the teachers and the parents. So, how do we help teachers or parents, whether you're homeschooling or sending to school, understand who they are and allow them to unwrap themselves
Mm-hmm.
so that then they already know they're whole, perfect, and complete. And know that when I say perfect and whole and complete, that doesn't mean that they're literally never do anything wrong.
It
It
doesn't mean that they're
means
done growing either.
no, it means they're exactly where they're supposed to be based on what they've experienced. And so I loved your previous speaker because yes, you do start by noticing um what what was I feeling when I did that? And when I was fe with that emotion, what did I think? And what did thinking that cause? Right? Because once you can start to really do that deeper work, then my special skill is I can actually go in and help you change your neurology. So it's not so hard. Um, it's a matter of going into what is the cause, what was the root cause, or what incident happened to cause you to respond that way. Because that, like I said, resistance is nothing more than information that that emotion is information And we live in a society where emotions kind of rule now. People will follow their emotions. And I can't think of a worse way to go. Don't follow your emotions, explore your emotions. And go,
Right.
oh, what are you telling me? It's a tool. It's like that little tap on the shoulder saying, hey, by the way, something's going on. You know, and those are with your, well, I really believe there's only one emotion, and that's love. And if it's negative, it's the lack of love. So, but what is it that's telling me there's not love here? Or what is it that is telling me that is love here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So when we're creating, and I want to dive into more of the homeschool side, just because some parents are like, I'm not equipped to be a homeschool parent. I'm either going to lose my patience way too much, or I don't know the academics, so I'm going to fail my children in that way, or I'm going to be totally driving myself nuts because I'm with them 24/7. How can I even have a connection that's strong with them, kind of thing? How do we give them some ideas of don't take all that on at the same time? Like, what can we do to kind of ease a few of those worries as we're exploring these things?
And kind of you talked about people are living in their emotions, and so that reaction is also very emotional based. It's like, I'm not good enough. What So how
Yeah,
do we step outside of that emotional reaction and get into, while the
that space
emotions
of
are real,
love.
the emotions are the realest thing, they also don't tell you the truth. So it's really interesting how the most real thing in your life, which is what you're feeling, isn't always truthful, and it's not who you are.
Correct. Yes, I couldn't agree more. So just a little bit of history about me. I jumped into homeschooling after refusing to homeschool for several years. And I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm not equipped. I'm not a teacher. I am not always rational. I
No.
have a
Any parent with
temper.
small kids.
I was not your ideal homeschool candidate, and I knew it, yet after several different attempts at things, that's where I ended up.
If you love your
And
kids, you are fully equipped. That's
I,
again, that's
yes,
all you need.
you're absolutely right. And the first thing I learned is how to apologize to my children.
Okay.
Um, that being said, where do you start? You start where you are. You start where you are. And one of the things about homeschooling is that you and your children get to grow together as long as you have that open attitude. And I learned very quickly and very early that my kids actually had more to teach me than I had to teach them. They didn't need, because I started out, okay, we're going to do 8 subjects a day, and I included Latin and da da da. We were done in 2 hours, and then I was like, well, now what do I do with them? And they were bored. That wasn't interesting to them.
Yeah.
So begin with an open mind. Begin with, I really want this in the end, which I did know what I wanted in the end. I did know that I wanted to provide my children with the very best education we could. And I knew that I wanted them to be children who, or I should say, adults who were thoughtful, who didn't just go, oh, well, the law says this, so that means that. I wanted them to think about that more. And I will give you a case in point because, and this comes out of the Bible. I'm a Christian, so please don't be offended. Whatever your beliefs are, this is perfectly fine. But I think you can relate. There's a passage where, or there's a story where a woman lies to protect the Israelites, and she ends up in Jesus's genealogy. And I was like, wait a minute. When I was a kid, my mom told me you never, ever, 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 ever lie. Well, how did she end up in the genealogy because she lied, right? That should be an exclusion right there. And then I brought it into a more current context, but I started to look at, okay, in World War II, people hid Jews and they lied to keep them hidden. And that was the right thing to do. And so as we did that, I ended up dumping all of the rules that we had in our household, which my kids hated. They were like, "What do I do?" I'm like, "Well, we have two principles in our house now." And our principles were love God, love others. If what you're doing does that, you're
You're
good.
good.
They hated it because they had to think. And and I didn't like it either because when something happened and I wanted to get all upset and angry, I would have to go and ask, well, how did that seem like the best action?
Right.
What was going on for you to think of that that would be the way to solve that?
Mhm.
Well, here I was learning how to coach when I wasn't even a coach yet, but understanding their motivations really opened things up and we got to know each other better. And when I messed up, because I was a yeller, so I yelled a lot and I decided I got to stop yelling. So I gave them permission. Please tell me when I'm yelling because I don't even know that I do.
Right.
But then we would, I would say, oh, okay. And I would kind of unpack what was going on for me and they could hear the process. So they knew that process. And that's really what I would say where the start is. The starting is in your brain. It's in your mind, in those things that we do because they're, I like to say programmed. I think your brain is like a big program. And unconsciously, you have no idea what your values are. You have no idea what the driving force is behind what you're doing. And so until you can really get into that, you can't really change the behavior until you change the programming.
Yeah. And I love the way you were just explaining all that because that is how you create that safety and you create that curiosity that inspires the growth, right? And it's
Yeah.
not just a kid thing that has to be done, it's the kid and the shot adult that needs to work on it all together. Yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. I love that. Where do we go? Oh my gosh. Yeah, just reframing. I mean, the whole day has all been so aligned in ways that are just so amazing. Just the different ways people talk about similar things, but at the same time, showing different points. There's like, oh, that clicks now a little bit better, and this clicks a little bit better. And that coaching perspective, right? You're a parent, but you're also a coach. How can you help
Yeah.
that? You have something? You have a question?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. Cool.
No, my nose itches.
Mine too.
It's one of those days. Oh my God.
Oh, well, I started listening and I kind of forgot where I was because again, it was an interesting, lovely conversation. So again, I became a spectator. I forgot I was supposed to ask a question.
That's okay. That's okay. Um, I can talk a little bit more about that if you like, just about that programming. And I talked about those unconscious values
Yeah.
that really dictate our programming and how we look at things. And I'll start by saying, just giving you a brief understanding of our communication model, right? There are 11 million bits per second coming at us. We can process consciously 134. So there's a lot of information out there that we have no clue. Our unconscious mind knows. Our unconscious mind can process it, but not our conscious mind. And so there are things that happen that we don't even know why that would be there or what would trigger us or anything because consciously we're like, I don't know. They cut in front of me and I I don't know. That's just wrong. It's
Yeah,
rude.
yeah. So I hurt my head. Protect your head. Brain damage sucks.
Mhm.
But through that process, it's like my cosmic egg got cracked open. That's what one of my doctors talked about it. There's a whole tribe that the medicine man, when he picks his successor, there we
Successor.
go.
The next person in
He
line.
takes his stick and he smashes him over the head with it, basically giving him brain damage so that the worldly knowledge will leak out. And through that process, I also it took psychedelics to bring me out of it, entheogenic medicine. And that 120 some bits gets opened and you see a lot more than that. And that shifts a person. So yes, there's so much information that we don't get, and our body can't filter that. Now, the interesting thing is our subconscious gets all of it, but our active part of our brain doesn't. And so children are a lot closer to that as well. So the amount of information they're taking in is even
Huge.
more. And so that
Wow.
that losing safety shuts that window down.
Absolutely, it does. Without that safety of knowing that it's okay to get it wrong. The one of the things in our house, we were like, if you fail, you fail. It's okay. Failure is an option. We want to know that you tried. And so, um, actually, sports were a big thing. I wanted each of my kids to play a sport, not because I wanted them to be all athletic. I mean, that was great too. But what it was really about is that mastery over the body and that brain power to go. I had an ice hockey goalie. So I say ice hockey because in other parts of the world, there's other kinds of hockey. Anyway, I'm in
Or
Minnesota. We
hockey,
have
field
ice hockey
hockey.
only. Yeah. No, we just have ice hockey. Anyway, the he chose to be the goalie, which is it's like being the quarterback of a football team or the pitcher of a baseball team. He knew he was going to fail stepping out on that ice every time because nobody's going to watch hockey unless goals go in, right? But understanding that I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do my best. Now, sometimes he had seasons where he had lots of shutouts, and he recognized that was because of the team in front of him, right? It wasn't without their assistance that he could have that. And so, but watching each of my kids learn how to transfer power from their mind to their body and then take that to the next level. My daughter did equine stuff. I was like, my kids think they're born to millionaires. Uh, so she did equine stuff. But watching her, by the time she was 10, she was training horses and teaching horseback riding lessons. What was incredible to me was, again, it was that understanding that the body that she lived in her body and she could utilize it to do things. And that's what all three of my kids, my youngest is a fencer. If I leave him out, that's not good. But anyway, all of them learned that. So it doesn't matter the sport. And really, it probably doesn't have to be a sport. It would just need to be physical activity and that need to push yourself,
Well,
right?
I'm gonna step in there and I'm gonna say no, the sport is very, very, very important. Again, because of the collaboration, the teamwork, the fact that you come or go together. And also there's so much in that. It was like, oh, this guy's a grandstander. He's not playing in the team. You can learn what you want to be and what you don't want to be by how people play with you as well. So again, I think, yeah, there's a lot to having your body involved in it, but there is so much more to go along with the teamwork and the relations that you have by being in that team. That was more critical to for me because I was naturally, again, kind of gifted in sports. I was really good at most things. What I
Mhm.
was not really good at was interacting with the people so much, again, because I saw them, what I saw what they could be, and then they acted way different. And so I saw these incredible beings of light and intelligence and beauty, and then they treated each other horribly. And so that was something that through sports I was able to let some of that go because of the
Yeah.
teamwork aspect. So for
And that
me, that
makes sense.
so yeah, so I'm gonna say that woo, gotta put that back in there.
My youngest did fencing, which is kind of an individual sport. Yes, you go to state as a team, but it's still very much about individual performance. So, um, it depends on the child. My daughter, she was a team with her horse. And she said there's nothing more difficult than getting something that can kill you to be your teammate. So,
No, but you said that she taught other people. There, when you go to
yeah,
competitions, there's the grouping together, and as a team, you win. You might win your individual medal, but it is so much better if your whole team wins. So even within that, even in what some people think are singular sports, it's like there is still that teamwork aspect, and you practice and you work with your coach. There is so much more than just the physical activity. And I'm sorry, I'm
agreed.
kind of.
No, I agree. I think we're both right.
Oh yeah, you're completely
Which
right.
that's the
The physical
beauty
aspect
of,
is incredibly important, but the
and
teamwork and how to deal with your fellow man is that's where most of it came from me.
yeah,
That's where I learned most of that.
and it's vital to be able to get along with other people because unless you're a hermit, you're going to have to interact with other people and a self-sustaining hermit. So interacting with others and understanding and really the better you can do with that, the better leader you're going to be as an adult, right? Because once you can, first of all, you have to be able to follow. You have to be able to follow. Then you have to be able to lead yourself, and then you can lead others.
You
And
have
so
to be able to
that's,
handle disappointment because you might not get the position you want. You might not get to play that game. There's so much that goes into that psychologically as well. It's beautiful, and to feel safe inside of a team, that 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 was amazing as well.
yeah. So if you look at your family as your team, you get it going so that you're all working together for each other's benefit. And as the parent, the homeschool parent, you're the leader. You set the level and you set that safety and you set that curiosity so that there can be love that flows. I have to just brag on myself for a little bit. I love that my 26-year-old calls me still. When we see each other, he gives me a hug.
Yeah.
And now I have a grandbaby that's his baby, and he loves for us to come over and take care of him or just be with them or come and work on their house for that. It doesn't matter, and we're happy to do it. But it can be difficult to cultivate those because it depends on the other person as well. So it depends on your kids and where they are with things and what 134 bits are they picking up?
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
our 33-year-old doesn't talk to us anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, there was some interesting things that went on there. Still doesn't make sense, but
And part of the reason we do what we do here, so that other
other
families can
people.
stay together even
Right.
better, right?
And
Exactly.
what story is he telling himself? Because that's all it is. It's a story he's telling himself about whatever happened. And it's probably not true because most of our stories not true.
Exactly.
No.
Oh my gosh, Elin, we could keep talking to you forever. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Just like all of our guests,
I know
every
every
person
single
today
one
like
today,
ended
right?
way too early.
But thank you so very, very much. Any last thoughts for our parents, as our audience, as we close up your session?
Yeah, my thought or the point that I would really want to get across to parents is that you need to be doing the work because as you do the work, your things will open up for your children and you are the example they want to follow. No matter the relationship, you're the one they want to be like when they're young. And as they get older, they'll figure out things, but really it's a great responsibility and it's there whether you send your kids to public school or you school them at home or private school. You are the parent and that is your responsibility. Take it, own it, and love it. So,
Yeah,
Um,
beautiful.
yeah.
And tell us about your gifts, please, before we.
Yeah, I would love to tell you about my gifts. And I want to point out I'm joining VIP. There are some great gifts in there. 'Cause- So do it. Do it. Don't think twice. So my gift for everyone is I'm doing a 3-day event where we can begin doing some of this work and you can get an idea of what's possible. So you get into that event for free. And for VIPs, I am giving you a free VIP experience. That is my gift to you. You'll all get great stuff. You'll all see yourselves more clearly. And VIPs, you're going to get a little extra, a lot extra. So I would say join the VIP. I'm going to. There are things on there I want. So, yeah, that's what my gifts are, and I'm super excited about that 3-day
Thank you
event.
so very, very much. Yes.
So,
Yeah. I mean, not only do I have not enough I can say about these beautiful souls that have been on the stage today and will be on stage tomorrow, but their heart for the gifts that they are giving to you, because all they want is for families to be happy, healthy, and successful every single day of the year for the rest of their lives, and bring up these children in this world that we know can happen as long as we as the adults don't mess it up. No, just kidding. As long as we work on ourselves and help give them the guidance that they need, right?
And I would like to thank
exactly.
you as well, because when you started talking about, fixing yourself, and that's not, you sent me into a mind spiral because I hurt my head. I spent so much time trying to fix myself, and only recently is that not a thing. So still sometimes when I hear that, it's that starts circling and settling in, and then I kind of lose where I'm at. So, I kind of apologize, but at the same time, it's like it is so incredible to be able to separate that we don't need fixing. We need to pick up where we are and do the best with what we have. And I'm throwing it back to John there for a second because fix the brain. I'm not fixing the brain. I'm
He's
growing. I'm
training the
growing
brain.
and training with where I am and improving what I have. I'm not fixing myself anymore.
Absolutely. That makes me so happy, Herb. It really does because you're perfect the way you are.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're
All right,
welcome.
we're going to end Elin's session here. We're going to stop the recording, but don't go anywhere because we're going to open up the floor for a couple of minutes for people to talk to